Hello and welcome to Say Yes to You and Why You Don't. For women who are great at saying yes to others, not always as great at saying yes to themselves. I am Claudia Braun, mindset and lifestyle coach for women who are great at saying yes to others. And today we are looking at an aspect of what we talked about last week. So last week we talked about that voice in your head that really stops you from your good. And so today I wanted to talk about that at a deeper level of really where I see it as sabotage. We sabotage ourselves in our minds. And one of my clients said, I kind of thought of sabotage as where I know I should be doing something and yet I'm scrolling on my phone, that kind of thing. That is an aspect of sabotage, but there is so much more to it. And that's why research shows we all do it. We all sabotage ourselves to one extent or another. The question is to the extent that we do it that causes the problem. And so be your own discerner of what you know about yourself. Where you want to do something, find yourself not doing it. Where you find yourself making your life harder than you know it needs to be. Where inside gosh, I know I could be happier, but I'm not. Those are indications sabotage is at play. Sabotage is happening in our lives. And so I wanted to talk about this in a deeper level so that you get a better understanding of it. Because like I said in the very first podcast, awareness is the key to change. If we don't know what we're doing, we can't change it. So the thing I also want to do is invite you to a workshop that I am hosting next week on sabotage. And we will spend 1 hour giving you tools and strategies to see where sabotage plays out in your life, give you a better understanding of it, and also help you to see how you can navigate it in a different way than you're currently doing, which is undermining your happiness and your peace of mind, which I know from the women that I talk to, when they ask them what they want in the next 6 months to a year, invariably they say, I want to be happier. I want to be more present. I want to feel more inner peace. And so what I know to be true is that when we are living out of these patterns of self-sabotage, we're not at peace, we're not feeling happy, we're not feeling like our best selves. And that's what we can handle in this workshop, is give you some ways of seeing this in a different way and help you have a strategy to do it differently. So one of the ways in which sabotage shows up, I know it was true for me, and I see it in many of the women that I talk to, is this perfectionism. And perfectionism is just so sneaky because it's that way in which we think we have to get everything just so, or we can't do it, can't release it. And it's where we are hyper-focused on the details, hyper-focused on making sure that nothing goes wrong. And we pre-plan and over-plan and over-strategize and overthink about it. And so much so that we're so stressed and so anxious because we have to get all the details right. You can't let anything be to chance because you just don't know what's going to go wrong. And when we have that mindset, it creates stress, anxiety, fear, overwhelm, because invariably something is not going to go to plan. Invariably, we're going to forget something. Invariably, someone's going to make a mistake. Someone isn't going to follow through. Someone says they're going to do something, they're not going to show up, or you miss something. I mean, mistakes happen. Or it's how people end up being so focused on making sure that their children don't make a mistake, make sure they're perfect, make sure they get it right. There's that internal feeling in your gut of tension, of tightness. And as one of the women I spoke with was saying, I just feel like I've always felt like I had to be the best. Always. As a child, I always felt like I had to be on top of my class. I always had to get the best scores on tests. In sports, always had to be that person who got it right, who didn't make any mistakes. And as she's realizing now in her 40s is that it's exhausting. It's absolutely exhausting to her to feel that way. And it puts so much added pressure when pressure isn't needed. It doesn't allow us to enjoy the process. There is no process. It's all about completion, destination, get it done, get it right. When that is the mindset, when that is the mantra, there is no joy, there is no peace, there is no happiness. And it totally robs us of what we're here to do, of how we're here to be. And the sneaky thing about these sabotage patterns is that you can have it reflected back to you in other people. Other people can be in that same mindset, and so then kind of ricocheting off of each other. So you feel this need to be perfect, get it right, and you have this other person who's very controlling and wants to control the details, or maybe that's you trying to control the details, trying to control the players. But in that place, perfectionism, controlling, right, you can feel how it's heavy, it's hard, it's harsh. And this is how these sabotage patterns play out in our minds, because it's happening in our mind, and then from our mind we're putting it out into the world, and then we're projecting it out onto others that's how they think we're supposed to be. We think that that's what they're expecting from us, so then that's how you become. It is a constant experience of second guessing, overdoing, overgiving. And then, as one of the women I spoke to said, then I just end up caring too much what other people think, right? Like, I want their validation. I've put all this work into it. I've worked so hard to make sure that all the details, everything is right. I want somebody else to acknowledge and validate how hard I've worked and how much I've done. And so many times it doesn't go down that way. It doesn't going to happen that way. And so I love knowing this because, like I said, awareness is power. Once we know this, we become more conscious of it. We then can start to see, okay, what is my strategy? But the tricky part is that it can be so subtle. It plays out in so many different ways. You can see it operating with your children. You can see it operating in your marriage. You can see it operating at work. You can see it operating in your family life, right? So really identifying where is the area that it feels most intense. One of the women I was talking to, she was saying that, oh my gosh, it's so much this thing at work. I feel this need that I have to make everything perfect. I have to make everything right. And what I'm noticing is the after effects of that is that I'm not very happy, and then I kind of feel bored, right? I mean, it's just like life feels kind of flat. And as a result, she's putting all this time, all this energy into getting it right, doing it. She doesn't feel like she has that much time left for anything that doesn't fall into that. So more social experiences, they fall by the wayside. And so having fun, seems like she can't remember when she's done it. So this is not so uncommon, the conversations that I have with people if saying, like, I can't remember, like, I'm not having much fun. I'm working hard. I'm doing all these things for other people, for my children, for my grandchildren, for my husband. I'm doing it all perfectly, but not that happy, not getting that much joy from it. feels like hard work, feels like a struggle. Can you relate? I know for me, many years ago, I was in business with my dad. My father had a retail business. He had 4 paint and wallpaper stores. It was actually my grandfather's business, and he took it over. And at one point, when I was in my 20s, I guess it was, late 20s maybe, I was managing one of the stores. I was working I was doing the retail, I was doing the trade, I was involved in all aspects of the business in that location. And I remember one day walking into the store and thinking, oh my God, the store looks perfect. Like I could see all the work I'd put into it. And I was proud of what I'd done, but I thought, I don't like it. I don't like doing this. It's not who I am. It's not what I want to do. It's not for me. And I remember I just burst into tears because I thought, I'm so good at making things look good, and yet it's not what I want to do. And that led me to a conversation with my father saying that, I'm not going to stay this isn't for me. I need to do something else. But it's not a conversation unfamiliar that I've had with other people, of them saying, I'm really good at my job. I'm very good at what I do. I'm very much the go-to person in many aspects of my life, but I'm not getting much joy from it. I'm not having much fun. I'm not enjoying it. Life feels kind of flat. I go through the motions of it, but it doesn't bring me life. I don't feel life from it. I feel me pouring my life into it, but I don't feel rejuvenation from it. I feel exhausted from it. So if you're feeling any of that and you relate to this, know that sabotage patterns are running you, and it doesn't have to be that way. And that's why I hope that you will come to the workshop I'm leading, because it's very powerful to start to name it and reclaim the true nature of you, the true being that you are, who is here to do that which is right for you, and to give yourself permission to give voice to that which it is that you want to do. I think we're so programmed, scripted to think, I'm doing this, I should keep doing it. I remember in my own life, so I went to my first year in college at a small school in Iowa, and I didn't like it, actually. I was there for a year. It was a small school. It was the same size as my high school. It was 4,000 students. My high school was 4,000 students, and I just felt like it wasn't really right. I just didn't know. I was young. I went to college after 3 years in high school. I graduated early, so I didn't really know what to expect from college, but I thought, I just didn't think this was exactly right. But inside I thought, well, I can't say I don't like this. Because I thought, I made the choice to be here. I wanted to go here. I had to live with it. I didn't know that I could actually tell my parents that, hey, you know what, I need to consider something else. I don't think this is right for me. I didn't grow up with that idea of thinking and knowing I could change my mind and do something else. I'd never seen anybody do that. Everybody in my family went to college, and they all went to the same college for 4 years. So it was one day I was having a conversation with my aunt, and I just said, I really don't like the school I go to. And she was the one who said to my mother, why are you making her go to a school she doesn't like? And she said, I didn't even know she didn't like it. And that was it. Like, I didn't think it was okay to give voice to that. I was 18 years old. I didn't know I could say, I don't want to go to this college anymore, and I could actually change my mind. And that was kind of revolutionary for me. And things began to change. So that's how sabotage lives in our mind. This script, this program, this thing that we've seen. We look for clues outside of ourselves, right? That's how sabotage patterns get created. Sabotage patterns are a childhood strategy to survive. Think about survival. When we're surviving, we rely on our greatest strengths. If you are somebody who's very good at pleasing other people, you're going to rely on being a pleaser. If you're somebody who has gotten through, your childhood, avoiding things, not dealing with them, not saying things to people, that's what you're going to rely on. So that's why I love bringing out, what are your patterns? What are they? Let's get into it, because through that we can start to shift and change them. The tendency that we all have is that when we haven't done this work yet, we think bringing stuff up is going to be messy, it's going to be hard, and where's it going to lead? But the truth is, where it leads is to a way out. So I always liken things to kind of a detox, right? When you want to get sober, when you want to cleanse your body, you have to bring the stuff out. You've got to cleanse out what is not good so you can have a healthier body, so you can have a healthier mind, a healthier liver, whatever it is that you're clearing. And it's the same thing about our minds. These patterns were created, but they don't serve us any longer when they rob us of our joy and they rob us of our ability to be present, to do things that are fulfilling. And so doing the workshop, I see as the beginning to a practice of clearing. We have to clear the stuff out that doesn't work. Clear it out, we bring it to the surface so that we can begin to find a way that does work. So, two snippets of my own life where I identified ways in which it would have been so easy to carry on because that's what I thought was expected of me. That's what I thought others wanted. That's who I thought I was supposed to be. And that's the thing, it's like, we get these ideas in our mind. It's how we're supposed to be. And that creates this perfectionistic idea. If we grew up in a house where we didn't see anybody making mistakes, we didn't see anybody apologizing if they did make a mistake, maybe you saw people get in trouble if they made a mistake, what does that create? It creates an internal feeling like, oh my gosh, I can't admit I don't know something. I can't admit to not being perfect. It creates a lot of internal tension, tightness, and anxiety. So the only way we do things different is to learn a different approach. And like I said, we got to bring up what's not working so we can get to what does work. And I know 100,000% it is so worth it. This journey of self-exploration, discovery, as the path to joy, freedom, self-expression, living an abundant, prosperous life is what is the gift. And on the other end of moving through these patterns, forcing yourself to fit into the square box, the pigeonhole yourself into a way, is only robbing you of the true nature of who you are. Inside, you know when you feel like you are at peace, when you are connected, when you are present, when you are doing work that you are fulfilled by. And you also know when you are run by anxiety, when you are run by perfectionism, when you are run by stress, when you are run by other people's expectations or your own that feel unreasonable and keep changing, you know the difference. You know what it feels like when you go on vacation and you feel relaxed. And if when you are on vacation you feel relaxed and at peace and you come home and you feel completely the opposite of that, you know that something is off. Because I'm of the mind that we can feel at peace, relaxed, as we feel on vacation. Vacation is an opportunity to explore and do different things that we don't normally do in our traditional home life. But if you're always running on anxiety, overwhelm, have to medicate yourself to get to a place of peace, know that that's an indication something is off. There are patterns that you have let run your life that are in the way of your good, and you deserve to get to the root of it, get to the heart of it, so that it does not need to run you any longer. And that is the power of what is possible by really getting these patterns, getting to the root cause, as I said. Our mind has these neural pathways that run through, and when our mind is off track, these neural pathways are not serving, and they are hijacked, and we are programmed to be a certain way. But we can change these neural pathways. We can change them so that they can be rewired. Our brain can be rewired by making these small shifts, small commitments to ourself. I wanted to just address one more thing I wrote a note, and I wanted to make sure to acknowledge it, is that one of the other things I see people doing is really, and I know I touched on it a little bit earlier, is going into this pattern of avoidance. They just don't want to deal with things. And I think that's what can happen when we're talking about these patterns that feel like an aspect of who you are, and you feel like, oh my gosh, you have that strong internal feeling of, I'm afraid to go there. Just go into major avoidance and you don't want to look at it. And I know I've used this line before, but that which you resist persists. And so the more you tell yourself, I'm not going to do it, I'm not going to look at it because it's just too painful, the more you keep yourself stuck and trapped, the more you keep yourself in pain. So if you are a strong avoider, this is an invitation to you to join me in the workshop, because I want to give you a strategy to really help you to start to have another way that gives you a window into being able to make small shifts. Small incremental changes over time will change your life. So again, as always, I thank you for being with me. I am Claudia Braun. I'm a I'm a lifestyle coach for women, great at saying yes to others, not always great at saying yes to themselves. Join me next week for my sabotage workshop. There's a link here. Please sign up and join me live over Zoom. And I look forward to meeting you and sharing with you, offering you tools and strategies to start moving through these patterns so they don't have to run you any longer. All right, bye for now. And I will look forward to seeing you next week. Bye.